Did you want to say something?
I wanted to say, let's talk some Red Wings.
There you go.
Say. That's what I wanted to say. They are 1-0-1 right now. They're in a nail biter with a 0-0. Is it still 0-0 over there?
Yeah.
3 points out of a possible 4. First game against Tampa. Second game was against who? Who was it? No.
Vancouver.
I knew it was Canadian team. Not a whole lot to unpack here, and I don't. This isn't going to be a thing that we talk Red Wings every single week. Same thing with the Pistons, but when something big happens, we gotta get into it, and we'll kind of touch base with some of the stuff that we've talked about in the preview throughout the season and stuff. But the first thing that stood out to me was Seider. 3 assists already in the first 2 games. That's great to see. More importantly, 20 minutes and 21 seconds against Tampa, and then 22 minutes and 55 seconds in Game 2 against Vancouver. They're trusting this guy, and I love seeing it. He looked very, very nervous that halfway through the first period, I thought. And then he really you got to take that or no?
I'm not buzzing.
Somebody's phone's ringing. Is that you, Micah?
Mm-mm. Sorry, guys.
Whose phone is that?
I don't know. I think it's just a little feedback.
That is really?
Yeah, we should just keep going. See what happens.
That's interesting. My bad. I thought it was somebody's phone vibrating. That's crazy.
Ryan, you want to take that?
Anyways.
Yeah. Be right back. It's so distracting.
It is. Sorry about that. I just gotta move on here. But yeah, it's nice to see. He looked very nervous at first, then he kind of got his feet under him and played well through the rest of the game. The number plus minus isn't anything too exciting about, but we'll see how that goes. Raymond got 1 assist. I think it was that first game. He played 16 minutes, 27 seconds, and then 13 minutes, 54 seconds in Game 2. Both these guys look like they belong, and that's I think the most comforting thing to see, because our prospects have come up time and time again and struggled and haven't looked ready to play in the NHL. These guys, as young, I think 20 and 21-year-old kids, maybe even younger, they're ready to play, and it's awesome. And they're not going to lose these jobs no matter what happens here. And
love seeing that.
So who are the young guys that have struggled? Who are some of those guys that you're thinking of?
I don't know if anybody's like in the past.
Yeah, just in recent memory.
Zadina struggled to come up. Like, he didn't produce. I mean, not that Raymond's produced yet, but
Rasmussen.
Rasmussen. Mantha was one of those guys that took a while to get up and play. Chalowski was supposed to be a really good defenseman. He came up and couldn't keep his job. The list kind of goes on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of players.
I guess what I was getting at is, like, a lot of those guys are on this team ready to produce.
They are now,
and they're here.
Yeah.
So if you get some of these rookies that are ready to produce as well at a younger age, a pretty good mix that you might be able to get there with talent-wise.
Seider did play that full year in Grand Rapids 2 years ago, so that was a good taste for him. But like a guy like Raymond just coming over and making the team right away is important, you know. That's the kind of stuff that we haven't seen. I mean, I forget if Larkin made the team right away. Bertuzzi had a year or two in GR when Tatar and Nyquist were coming up. They had a couple years in GR. I
think they all played together.
All of these
the
guys,
Calder.
Yeah, all of these guys kind of had their time in GR to develop, and I like that we're at a point that we're not keeping them down just for the sake of keeping them down and develop. You know what I mean? Let them develop on the job.
It almost felt like that was like Ken Holland's MO. Like from the top, hey, got to keep the guys down.
Yeah.
Got to keep the guys down. Got to keep the veterans happy.
Yep. So game 1 was crazy. That's the one that I want to dig into just a little bit, more or less because of the Larkin stuff. For the people that missed it, he kind of got bumped from behind. It was an awkward hit. I personally didn't think it was dirty. I was very surprised by what escalated after that. So I don't need to get into all the boring details of what happened before and all that stuff, but basically,
go see it on Twitter.
It was the refs did not let these guys settle it early on, and it got chippy, it got ugly, and Larkin kind of got put in an awkward position. It was dangerous, but it wasn't like, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't malicious at all. I didn't think. And then Larkin got up and sucker punched the guy with his glove on. Just got up and decked him right in the face. I'm listening to Bally Sports guys. Like I think Ken Daniels does a great job. Mickey Redmond is what he is. But like they're all like Larkin deserved they were defending the Red Wings like they do. Like it is, but like I sit here and I'm listening to all these other fans like call into these radio shows the next day, and everybody's like, I'm so glad Larkin did that. It's about time. He was cheap-shotted, and yeah, he stood up for himself. I'm like, dude, do you guys realize what you just watched happen is stuff that we have hated about so many other players in this league for a very long time? Like Crosby, like I don't want to compare Larkin to Crosby, but everything that people hated about Crosby as he was coming into the league with his, I can't think of a word that's not swearing. It's actually 2 swear words that come to mind. I shouldn't say it. I'm not going to say it.
Don't say it.
Weak?
But female dog
okay.
buttness, basically, is where I'm going at. He's a whiny little baby, and he's exactly what people hated about Crosby without the upside of what Crosby was, if that makes sense. And it's blowing my mind that people are just letting this guy get away with it because they're Red Wing fans. And look, I get it. You're a Red Wing fan. I'm a really big Red Wing fan, but I also am a hockey fan. I like the game of hockey. And the way Larkin handled that was the exact opposite of what old school people want and new school people want. It makes no sense what he did. There's no reason why people should defend it. There is no reason, like, he should have been suspended. And luckily he came out and said all the right things. But that's just another thing with Larkin is I feel like he says the right things, but he doesn't even believe the words that are coming out of his mouth. I'm just kind of going off right now, like just so many different things. I mean, what did you guys think of the situation?
In the moment, I had no problem with what he did. I feel like, okay, it wasn't like the malicious level wasn't at a 10. You know, I thought it was like a 6 or a 7 maybe. The hit he took. But I think what compounded his emotions was from last year when he took that cross check from, what was it, Jamie Benn?
That's another thing that I hated. Sorry, keep going, but I'm going to disagree. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, he ended up with a neck injury. And so basically what it is he got really pissed off. He's already known to have this neck issue. He doesn't want to have it again. And everyone around the league knows that. So he got pretty defensive, sucker punched the guy. And after watching it, you almost see like no one come to his defense anywhere as close.
And that's the key, I think. And that is my whole thing with Larkin is I don't think he is leadership quality because of that. That right there tells me, people didn't really care.
You don't think he's won the locker room over?
No, I don't.
You don't think he's got the respect of his teammates?
I think they respect him, but I don't think they respect him the way that a captain is supposed to be respected. I think they respect.
But you felt the same way about Crosby
when he was first getting the C on his jersey. It was way too early, but I mean he was the best in the world right away. So like it's a different thing. Like people respected Crosby because of his talent, and how great he was coming into a man's league, being mugged, and I mean he had a reason to whine and complain and all that stuff, and I guess Larkin does too. But Larkin does not have the skill to back it up. He does not have the skill to back it up. He does not have the respect of being like, yeah, I just show up and I'm really great. And I'm not saying that Crosby didn't put in the hard work, but like there's a difference between being the best player because you just are and being the real true leader of that team.
So I don't have a whole lot to say about this because I don't know the unwritten rules of hockey, I guess. But I have a hard time with unwritten rules of baseball too, kind of. And so if I'm going to look at it from a logical point of view, I would think that you would want your player, your guy on your team to, especially your captain, to bring some emotion and to want some to change the franchise a little bit. So if he was getting chippy because he's ready to compete and he's like, no, screw you guys, I'm going to come back and do this. And if he felt like they were being, unnecessarily rough, or I don't know what I watched it. I didn't really see that big of a deal actually.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think if it was his emotion coming out and his like competitiveness coming out, I think that might translate through the rest of the team in the locker room.
But that's where I'm just like, you can like, this is, and I've always thought this way, and there's other hockey players that think different, but you can do whatever the heck you want to me. Do whatever it is. You can tell me the meanest thing about my mom in my ear, And if I turn around and react, then I'm putting myself above the team. But if somebody's doing it to my teammate and I'm going to step up for him, that's when I can get away with punching a guy and fighting a guy because I'm defending a teammate. Larkin was defending himself. Larkin wasn't, playing the game with an edge. He lost his temper and looked like a little baby, put himself above the team when the team was up. And that's exactly what Tampa was trying to do. That's exactly what teams do when things aren't going well, is they try to agitate, they try to get somebody to flip out, get a 5-minute penalty, score 2 goals on it. That's exactly what happened. They did exactly what they wanted to do. And it wasn't like a dirty play, really. It was an awkward play, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary that doesn't happen in this league each and every game. That's the way I look at it. There was a much worse hit on Rasmussen later on in that game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was same dude who scored both, right?
I don't remember if it was.
I think
was
it was
Joseph that got him too? It might have been. I guess I don't know that, but I mean, it was. I was angry, and I was angry at Larkin, and you guys know I don't like Larkin. I'm not a big Larkin fan, so
I think some of this is.
If I see something like that, I'm gonna. But I pointed this stuff out heading into the season, and that's exactly what we saw heading in here. He's not leadership quality, and that right there tells me. He's not a true leader of men. He's saying the right things. He's the one that gets on the ice first and gets off the ice last.
Got it. Well,
he's also the one that's going to say all the right things, but he's not saying. He doesn't even believe what's coming out of his mouth. And people can find that, and people can Matt Patricia, very fake, right? We knew that pretty quick. Larkin is fake, in my opinion.
Question.
Yeah.
Is there anyone on this team that would defend anyone else on the team?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of guys that would. I mean, Bertuzzi's always ready to defend. But if you watch the second game, he did it a lot more in that second game because I think that was the message in the locker room was Larkin did this. Somebody else should have been in there way before he even had a chance to throw a punch. And that is, I think, the message that was said in the locker room behind closed doors is, look, defend each other. Fight for each other. Because don't fight for yourself, fight for one another.
Man, so what he did actually created a really good message.
No, I still disagree.
Oh, okay.
With that. No.
So I thought this is kind of a downer. I thought you were going to talk about how they were 1-0-1, and they're actually looking really good tonight, and they look a little bit different with all this young talent that's blossoming right in front of our eyes.
I think they had a winning record through 5 games last year.
Yeah, they did. So. I think, what's his name that we traded away?
Mantha.
Mantha had like 6 goals in 5 games.
I think he scored 4 in the opener against Dallas.
Just like Bertuzzi.
Might have been 2 years ago now. I don't know.
Was it Bertuzzi?
Bertuzzi had 4.
Yeah, he had 4.
Game 1. Yeah, I mean, I should have brought that up.
So listener Charles said, Larkin is young, though he will grow into wearing the C.
I sure hope so, man. Either that or trade him. I'm ready to move on. I would love to see him get traded for, even though I don't like Jack Eichel, be part of that. But, I mean, hey, people grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he
might just grow up.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how the rest of it goes.
Especially if he keeps playing on the 4th line. We don't need to get into that.
He's the 4th center on the ice.
4th center on the ice. Yeah.